Robert Young sadly passes away after disclosing concealing black fear behind a happy face at MGM. Robert George Young was born on February 22, 1907 in Chicago, Illinois. Robert George Young had a humble and occasionally challenging background. Robert's early upbringing was quite disturbed since his father was a laborer and Irish immigrant who moved the family around often. At last, settling in Los Angeles, California, the Young family Robert graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School and went on to the University of Southern California. His love of theater took him to the Pasadena Playhouse, a launching pad for many famous actors of the day. Young developed his skill there and started to draw the notice of Hollywood talent scouts. He studied and acted at the Pasadena Playhouse post-graduation, performing various jobs and appearing in minor parts in silent films. Young was found by a Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer talent scout touring with a stock company making the ship who signed the young actor to a contract. Young's first sound film for Fox Film Corporation was in the 1931 Charlie Chan movie Black Camel, starring Warner Oland. In Hollywood, Robert Young had a long and diverse career, appeared in more than 100 movies from 1928 until 1952, often classified as a Tier B actor. He nevertheless collaborated with some of the most famous and respected women of his day. Among the ladies he co-starred with were the unyielding Katharine Hepburn, the glitzy Norma Shearer, the gifted Joan Crawford, the iconic Helen Hayes, and the ethereal Louise Rayner. Though it is noteworthy that Loretta Young was not connected to him, despite their common last name, he also collaborated with screen legends such Hedy Lamarr, Helen 12 Trees and the famous Loretta Young. Though his career mostly stayed in the B-movie domain, his partnerships with A-list celebrities may have appeared to indicate Young was on the verge of becoming a starring man. Those shorter, lower-budget movies studios frequently turned out to round out their programming calendars. Young mostly acted in films classified as programmers, low-budget projects usually shot in 2 to 3 weeks, often utilized to round out the bottom half of double features. These films followed straightforward, well-known storylines. Because of the character of these tasks, actors like Young, often cast in such movies, actors like Young often found themselves working quickly, constantly hopping from one project to the next. A performer demoted to B-movie status might not be unusual to feature in 6 to 8 movies a year. Though consistent, this taxing schedule also meant Young was frequently typecast in parts that denied him the opportunity to display the whole spectrum of his acting ability. Young's career was formed by the rigorous requirements of the studio system, while he was under contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer MGM. Young, among MGM's contract performers, had to take any movie the studio allocated to them. Not only a brief pause from shooting, but also suspension could follow refusal to accept these duties. It might imply the performer was prohibited from making any money, not only from MGM, but from any work connected to entertainment. Many people found themselves caught in the B-movie cycle since this system frequently left them feeling trapped and had little influence over the kind of parts they were given. Young was lent out by MGM in 1936 to collaborate with Gaumont British in the United Kingdom, where he featured in 2 movies. Directed by the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock, the first was Secret Agent 1936. The second picture, It's Love Again, 1936, starred Jesse Matthews and gave Young a different kind of part. Young was certain MGM was going to terminate his contract while in England, but much to his astonishment, he was able to keep working for the studio for several more years. Although Young's 1930s career was mostly characterized by B-movies and studio projects over which he had little control, in the early 1940s, he did see a major change. Late in his MGM career, one of the most gratifying jobs was in the movie H. Pullmanesque, 1941. Young was able to leave the usual parts he had been cast in up to then for this more reflective and complex drama. One of Hedy Lamarr's most lauded performances also helped the film. Young himself said that during his time at MGM, he sometimes found himself assigned parts rejected by more famous actors, such Robert Montgomery. Though H.M. Pullmanesque shown that he could do more difficult, emotionally charged parts when given the chance, Young's view of being a fallback choice may have influenced his attitude about his profession. In the years after he left MGM, Young's career took a new turn. He started to assume a broader spectrum of parts in both light comedies and more somber dramas. His post-MGM career included movies from major studios including 20th Century Fox, United Artists, and RKO Radio Pictures. Starting in 1943, Young discovered himself in progressively difficult parts in movies such Claudia, 1943, The Enchanted Cottage, 1945, They Won't Believe Me, 1947, The Second Woman, 1950, and Crossfire, 1947. As he left his former reputation as a likable romantic lead and played more ethically ambiguous or even unlikable roles, these movies highlighted his adaptability. Reviewers noticed this change in character type. Many lauded Young for his capacity to handle darker, more complicated parts very different from his prior, more wholesome depictions. Young came back to MGM in 1949 to participate in the Errol Flynn and Greer Garson picture, That Forsyte Woman, 1949. This signaled a comeback to the kind of large-scale star-studded productions that had characterized Young's early career, but at this time, his acting had developed and he could add fresh dimension to his portrayal. His part in Secret of the Incas, 1954, a picture starring Charlton Heston would however signal the end of his career in feature films. Though it had better location shots including ones taken on site at the stunning Machu Picchu in Peru, Secret of the Incas was a South American adventure picture. It did not do well. Its impact on succeeding movies, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, which was partially based on Secret of the Incas, would therefore follow. Young's last significant feature film was this one. Following its release, he moved away from acting in big movies, although his reputation as a dependable character actor lived on. Over his career, often, Robert Young's work was eclipsed by the more glitzy Hollywood Golden Age performers, but his commitment to his profession, and his capacity to fit a broad spectrum of parts, from romantic leads to more complicated and even malevolent characters, guaranteed that he made a lasting impression on the cinema business. Though his movies might not have always been the most high-profile, his consistent participation in more over 100 films attests to his work ethic and adaptability. Television, though, delivered Robert Young his most famous and lasting parts. Starting in 1954, he played Jim Anderson, the Father Knows Best patriarch. Originally broadcast on radio, the program was a sincere depiction of mid-century American family life on television. Young's disposition was warm, fair and gentle, instructing his children with patience and knowledge. Young himself won 3 for Best Actor among several Emmy Awards as the show went for 6 great seasons. More than just entertainment, Father Knows Best became a cultural landmark, idealizing suburban family values and influencing popular views of parenting during the 1950s and early 1960s. Young recreated himself for a new generation of viewers when Father Knows Best finished. Portraying a sympathetic and unconventional general practitioner, who sometimes went above and above for his patients, he assumed the title role in Marcus Welby, Maryland in 1969. An innovative show for its day, it addressed challenging and occasionally contentious medical and societal concerns. Young's performance of Dr. Welby earned him an Emmy Award and a Golden Globe. The program stayed well-liked all the way until 1976. His character's compassion, honesty and humanity spoke to people and helped to confirm Young's standing as the epitome of decency and reliability. In September 1969, he and Jimi Hendrix shared the stage on The Dick Cavett Show. He created many television ads for Sanka Coffee till 1982. Robert Young's personal life was inextricably linked to his work, and his long marriage to Betty Henderson attests to his dedication to family. Married in 1933, their marriage endured an amazing 61 years till Betty passed away in 1994. During their marriage, the couple had 4 daughters, Carol Prophet, Barbara Beebe, Kathy Young and Betty Lou Gleason. Through their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, their offspring added more happiness to their life, a legacy Robert valued despite his own challenges. Robert and Betty's family expanded to include 9 great-grandchildren and 6 grandchildren. Though Robert Young was much praised for depicting good, well-adjusted people in his movies and television series, the parts he performed in his own inner life were in sharp contrast. Young's personal emotions about the Hollywood industry were sometimes harsh, particularly over casting decisions. His long-term battles with depression and drinking were exacerbated by his disappointment with how he was typecast as well as the demands of celebrity. His emotional upheaval resulted from his dissatisfaction with the expectations of the entertainment business, and his inability to escape the image of the joyful ideal family man. Feeling overrun by his personal demons, Young tried suicide in January 1991, a time when these problems came together to create great distress. Young spoke candidly about his difficulties, therefore pushing himself toward healing instead of retreating deeper into seclusion. He urged those in pain to get assistance and utilized his platform to help change the stigma around mental health. Young's attempts to destigmatize mental health concerns were part of his larger goal to promote awareness of the need of mental well-being. His love of mental health activism inspired the founding of the Robert Young Community Mental Health Center. Named in his honor, the center honors his dedication to enhance mental health treatment in Illinois. The center's activities started in Rock Island, Illinois, and has grown to several sites across the Quad City metropolitan region, including ones in both Illinois and Iowa. Young's efforts to push the 708 Illinois tax referendum through marked a turning point in this path. This referendum guaranteed that resources would be available for persons in need of mental health support by establishing a property tax to finance mental health initiatives all across his home state. Robert Young, known for his polished appearances on the big screen and admired for his parts as the amiable and all-American family man, Robert Young sadly died with a deeply personal disclosure about his life that had long been concealed behind the camera. Young had been a mainstay at MGM for most of his career, acting in parts that highlighted warmth, hope, and charm, but he was hiding a hidden dread that sometimes overwhelmed him. He said that underneath his apparently happy, outgoing attitude lurked a black horror, a deeply rooted worry that made him feel like an introvert in an extrovert's job. From the 1930s until the 1960s, Robert Young became a symbol of a particular kind of film business ideal: beautiful, competent, and always smiling. The actual guy behind these parts, however, was distant from what his admirers seen on screen.